We're pleased to be joined this morning by several guest speakers. Our first guest speaker is going to be Ms. Lisa Fliesen-Trosbach from Virginia Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services Office of Pesticide Services. She is the program manager there, and she's going to give us some updates from the VDAC side of things. And then we're also going to be joined by Mr. Daniel Frank, who is our Virginia Tech Pesticide Programs Director, as well as Ms. Rachel Parson, who also works for Virginia Tech Pesticide Programs as an Extension Associate. And they're going to be sharing some comments from the Virginia Tech side of things as far as pesticide applicator recertification and maybe what that may look like in the midst of the COVID-19 situation and what that may mean for applicators moving forward as far as certification and recertification. So we're pleased to be joined by these folks this morning. I think we're going to have a great presentation and hopefully facilitate some great discussion and get questions answered. One or two quick housekeeping items before we get started this morning. For everyone's security, we've put into place some measures to where you will not be able to unmute yourselves until the end of the presentation when we'll open it up for questions and comments. So if you have questions or comments for our speakers, if you have the ability to enter those in the chat window, that would be excellent, and we'll address those as soon as we can at the end of the presentation. And then we'll also open it up for you all to unmute yourselves at the end of the presentation to ask some of those questions or comments. So we appreciate everyone's understanding and patience with that. The meeting will be recorded. You see there on your home screen the link for those recordings for today as well as previous versions of VC Ag Today. So if you know someone that wasn't able to join us, if you just share that link after today's presentation, we'll have that uploaded as soon as possible. So without further ado, I guess we'll go ahead and get started. So Lisa, we appreciate you joining us this morning, and the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. Just to have a sound check, Robbie, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am, Lisa, loud and clear.
Okay, thank you. I'll go ahead and share my screen. Good morning, everybody, and I appreciate the opportunity to be with you today and to provide a pesticide update on behalf of the Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services Office of Pesticide Services. As Robbie said, I'm Lisa Fliesen-Trosbach, and I am the program manager, and I've been with the department about 20 years. Today I'm going to provide a brief pesticide update just on a number of hot topics. And then, as Robbie had indicated at the end of the presentations, I'll be happy to address any other questions or comments that you have. And if I don't know the answer, I will certainly follow up with the group. So for today, I'm going to cover a couple topics. The first one related to pesticide applicators. I'd like to cover both recertification and renewal processes. Since I know that we may have both private applicators and commercial applicators on today's call, I'll differentiate between the two where it's appropriate. I'm also going to provide an update on the use of dicamba and the 2020 use season, and also about the use of paraquat and the training requirements that are now in place for the use of that restricted use pesticide. I'll provide a brief update about our pesticide collection or disposal program, and also our plastic pesticide container recycling program. And then, as was mentioned earlier, it'll be your turn, but that will be after my presentation and the presentation by Daniel and Rachel at Virginia. Excuse me.
Hey, Lisa, this is Robbie. Could you expand your PowerPoint presentation? We're seeing the actual work view versus presentation view.
I don't know why, because on my screen I'm not seeing that. So my apologies. Bear with me if you will. Let me see.
I believe you need to choose the presenter view, I think, Lisa.
Let me, is that better?
No, ma'am, we still see the work view there.
I am sorry.
That we've got it now, Liza. It's on Reminder Certified Pesticide Applicator slide.
Okay, so you're good. I apologize for that.
No worries, no worries. Thank you.
Okay. So as a reminder for certified pesticide applicators, first of all, to maintain your certification is a two-step process. The first process is the recertification portion. And this is for whether you're a private applicator or a commercial applicator. You're required to complete one recertification course every 2 years before your certificate expires for each category you hold. So for example, if you are certified, let's say in categories 1A and 1C as a commercial applicator, you have to take one recertification course for each of those categories. They may be within the same course, but you have to have that recertification credit for both categories. Courses are approved for a specific category, and we do mail status reports to all applicators in the fall of the year prior to when your certification expires. As you know, all certifications expire on June 30th. If you are a commercial applicator, it may be an odd or even year. And if you're a private applicator, it would be every 2 years on December 31st. Again, you may be in an even year or an odd year. Individuals have to attend the entire course to receive recertification credit. And of course, there are a number of forms that you have to complete. And if you're a course sponsor or speaker seeking certification credit, you also have to attend the full course and complete all the required forms. Now, there are options to recertify without taking a recertification course. And this is referred to as testing in lieu of attending a recertification course. If you are a commercial applicator and you would like to test to recertify instead of participating in a recertification course, you can submit your renewal application and the appropriate fee. And you also have to submit a testing application and an appropriate fee. So it's 2 separate applications and 2 separate fees if you are going to test in lieu of attending a recertification course if you're a commercial applicator. If you're a private applicator, you can also recertify by testing. However, for private applicators, as you know, there are no fees required. So you only need to take the private applicator exam. You can either test with a Virginia Cooperative Extension agent, or you can submit an application to our office if you would prefer to test at the Department of Motor Vehicles. I believe everyone knows that the Department of Motor Vehicles offers pesticide applicator testing. All appointment, you have everything at DMV is by appointment only. So if you do want to test at DMV, you do need to make an appointment. But both commercial and private applicators can test at the Department of Motor Vehicles. Now, I had mentioned again that to maintain your certification is a 2-step process. So the first process is the recertification, and then the second step in that is the actual renewal. So for commercial applicators and registered technicians, we send renewal applications in April of every year, and the fee is due back to our office by June 30th. Now, I put those asterisks there because given COVID-19, there are some implications for the pesticide renewal process, and I'll talk about those in just a minute. In general, if you don't renew by June 30th, of course, you're not allowed to apply pesticides, and after August 29th, the only way to renew your certificate is by examination. Now, this is if you're a commercial applicator or a registered technician. For private applicators, because there's no fee involved with your renewal, you don't receive a renewal application. Your certificate will renew automatically if you have sufficient recertification credit in at least one of the categories, 90 or 91. If recertifications are not earned by the expiration date, you have 60 days beyond December 31st to obtain recertification credit. If you don't obtain that recertification credit, you have to retest to reinstate your certificate. Just like with commercial applicators and registered technicians, if you do not earn sufficient recertification credits and your applicator certificate is not renewed, you're not allowed to apply pesticides by law until such time as it's renewed. So those renewal dates are very important. Now with COVID-19, there have been implications for certification. And here I'm going to focus on commercial pesticide applicators and registered technicians because we are currently in the midst of their renewal season. So as you know, commercial applicators are required to renew their certificates by June 30th. Because of COVID-19 and specifically the implications for the availability of recertification courses, that date has been extended. So pesticide applicators do not have to renew their certificates until August 29th. Now, if applicators do not renew by August 29th, they will be required to renew by testing. For authorization letters, for those commercial applicators and registered technicians, and for those private applicators that elect to test at the Department of Motor Vehicles, you get an authorization letter from our office to take the exam. Because of COVID-19 and the implications to the testing opportunities, specifically DMV was closed for a number of months, and many of you may know that while they're reopening, they have staggered openings, and again, all of their services are by appointment. It has reduced the capacity or the availability of testing. Because of that, the administration has extended the expiration dates of all notices of authorization to test issued on or after December 20th through October 31st. So any applicator who has an authorization letter to test issued on or after December 20th, regardless of the expiration date, it's extended to October 31st of 2020 or the current date of the expiration, whichever is greater. If a prospective applicator does not take an exam by October 31st, 2020, or the current date on their expiration, whichever is greater, they will be required to submit a new application with the appropriate fees to take the exam. One other item that was put in place to assist pesticide applicators and businesses are licensed businesses can allow their employees to apply pesticides without obtaining a registered technician certification for the duration of the state of emergency. These businesses are required to train their registered technicians and provide an in-house test for them and to maintain documentation of the training and testing. However, there is a temporary requirement that registered technicians not be state certified to apply pesticides. Again, this is only during the state of emergency. Additional information is available on our website at the link provided in this slide. We encourage all commercial applicators, registered technicians, and private applicators to visit this site on a regular basis, as this is where the most current and up-to-date information regarding certification can be found. Now, to move on to dicamba use in Virginia, I am sure many of you are aware that the Environmental Protection Agency, or EPA, issued a cancellation order for the federal registration of 3 dicamba products that are used for the over-the-top application to both soybeans and cotton. These include XtendiMax with Vapor Grip, Fexapan, and Ingenia. The cancellation order was the direct result of the Ninth Circuit Court of U.S. Appeals decision on June 3rd to vacate the federal registration of these dicamba products. That vacation, in essence, means that these products are not registered and cannot be used. EPA's cancellation order addresses all uses of these products and includes requirements for the sale, the distribution, and the use of existing stocks of the 3 products that I previously mentioned. The use of dicamba for the over-the-top applications to genetically modified soybeans and cotton for 2021 or next year's growing season and beyond that is unknown at this time. But as of right now, effective as of June 30th of 2020, both growers or producers and commercial applicators can use the existing stocks that were in your possession on June 30th. But all of the uses, of course, must be consistent with the product's label and may not continue after July 31st, 2020. In other words, July 31st, 2020 is the last date that any applications of XtendiMax, Fexapan, or Ingenia can be made. Now, this would be for any use that's listed on the label. These products, in addition to having instructions for over-the-top applications, also have other uses. This cancellation involves all uses on that particular dicamba product label. The distribution and sale of these products by the registrant is prohibited effective on June 30th. The only exception is that the distribution for the purposes of proper disposal. So a registrant, of course, can dispose of their product. And again, the distribution or sale of existing stocks of the products listed previously is only permitted for, again, proper disposal or to facilitate the return of the product to the registrant or a registered establishment under contract with the registrant. So in essence, it cannot be bought or sold, but it can be used by growers and commercial applicators. Another pesticide that has been of particular interest is paraquat and the training requirement that has been put into place recently. Since 2000, there have been 17 deaths, and 3 of those involving children, caused by the accidental ingestion of paraquat. In these cases, the deaths were caused or were the result of the pesticide being illegally transferred to a beverage container that was later mistaken for a drink and consumed. And there were also other deaths and severe injuries caused by this pesticide on the skin or in the eyes of those working with the herbicide. Because of these particular incidences, in addition to other information that was received by EPA, the EPA put into place a special training requirement for certified applicators who use paraquat. Of course, paraquat is a restricted use pesticide. So any certified applicator who uses paraquat now has to meet these new requirements. And just to be clear, use involves all the activities related to that particular product. So it would be mixing, loading, applying, any type of cleanup, disposal, all of those are considered use. So any person who intends to use paraquat must be a certified applicator and are required to take this special training. This means that paraquat can no longer be handled by the workers that are working under the supervision of a certified applicator. For example, under the worker protection standard, pesticide handlers who are trained can work under a certified private applicator. Those applicators are not permitted to use paraquat. In addition, in Virginia, we have what are called registered technicians. And while we consider those individuals certified, they do not meet the federal definition of a certified applicator. Therefore, they are not allowed to use the product either. Only individuals who are a certified commercial applicator or a certified private applicator here in Virginia can use the product. And for those applicators, training is required prior to use, and it must be retaken every 3 years. And the 2 important pieces of this training are, one, there's an emphasis on the importance of handling paraquat safely because of the extreme toxicity of the product. And another thing that's highlighted in this particular training is that, again, that use only by certified applicators. And finally, I want to talk briefly about our 2 pesticide-related programs that we offer free of charge to all applicators in Virginia. The first is our pesticide collection and disposal program. And this is a program that we work closely with Virginia Cooperative Extension to host, and this allows the disposal of canceled or banned or unwanted pesticides by agriculture producers and other pesticide users. In this program, we divide the state into 5 regions, and every year a pesticide collection program is conducted in a different region. Once all the regions are served, the cycle begins again. The map on the right side of the screen shows the years of participation for 2020 through 2024. And I will be providing the places and dates of this year's program on the next slide. Since this program started in 1997, this program has collected and destroyed more than 1.5 million pounds of pesticides. This has kept them out of the landfills or other inappropriate pesticide disposal options. One of the great things about this program is it's free. It's free to the users. If anyone ever has taken upon themselves to try to get rid of pesticides, which of course are considered hazardous waste, it can be a significant challenge. And so this is a great way for these pesticides to get out of those outbuildings and out of the inventory if it's no longer used. We have additional information available on our website, and I certainly encourage you to visit that site. For the 2020 year, here is a list of the collection dates and sites. We have 8 collection events planned. In this particular case, the applicator brings the pesticides to be disposed of to one of these particular sites. It's unloaded by the contractor and is ultimately shipped to EPA approved sites for disposal. There is a request for registration by users prior to the program, just so the coordinators can get an idea of how much product to be, to expect. Any product can be brought. This is an amnesty program, regardless of what the product is, how old it is, what the condition is in. As long as it's not leaking and can be transported safely, products can be brought. One thing that's really important is that only pesticides are collected. There are no other products, fertilizers, any type of adjuvants, any of those things are not part of this program. It would be for pesticides only. Our second program is the Plastic Pesticide Container Recycling Program. This is also a free service that we offer in cooperation with Virginia Cooperative Extension and local government. This provides locations where pesticide applicators can bring their properly rinsed plastic pesticide containers. Containers are accepted up to 55 gallons. And these containers are ultimately granulated and are made into other products for use. This is, again, a free program. Recycling sites can be located in a variety of places. There are a variety of storage options, and we actually provide grant dollars to Virginia Cooperative Extension and the local government to help assist with these programs. Since we've had this program, more than 2 million pounds of plastic have been kept out of landfills and have been used for other purposes. So I encourage you to both check our website to see where those locations are and also work with your local county extension agent and local government if you're interested in having a program and do not have a program. And then finally, I would just request, if you don't know the answer to some pesticide related question, I really encourage you to call and ask us. I provided contact information for our major programs, and we're always happy to help you. I've also put our link to our website, which provides additional information about those items that I've talked about today, as well as a variety of other programs. So we will wait till after the next presentation for questions, but thank you again for the opportunity to participate.
All right, thank you, Lisa. We appreciate you joining us this morning and sharing those updates. Now we'll move forward, and as Lisa said at the end, we'll take questions and comments for all of our presenters. But next we'll have Mr. Daniel Frank, our Virginia Tech Pesticide Program Director, as well as Ms. Rachel Parson, who is an Extension Associate within the Virginia Tech Pesticide Program Department. So with that being said, Daniel, Rachel, the floor is yours.
Good morning. I'm going to let Daniel speak first about our website.
They need to unmute me.
Oh, you can't. Oh, Daniel can't unmute himself.
Thank you. Sorry about that. So I just wanted to start off by showing our website. We've recently, I need to enable screen sharing as well. Thank you. All right, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So we recently redesigned our website in an effort to hopefully make information a little bit easier to find. One question that we get quite a bit is about training manuals and online courses. So we have manuals, or we develop manuals here in Virginia Tech Pesticide Programs to, that are specifically designed to prepare applicators to pass the certification exams. So right here on the front page, if you click this tab, Training Manuals and Online Courses, you'll be directed right here to where you can easily find that information. So to order manuals, you may get a screen like this. Right now, Virginia Cooperative Extension requires Adobe Flash Player to download and order the manuals, or excuse me, to order the manuals online. And you just want to make sure that that Flash is installed on your computer before you can do that. Otherwise, you'll get this kind of error message here. If we go to online training courses, so these are online certification preparation courses, and they're available to supplement learning as you read the manuals. And we do have these courses available. Right now, they're in various stages of completion. We're working on making these a little bit more robust and better for applicators. Right now, we're working on the Virginia Core Manual. We're hoping to have that completed within the next month or two, and that will be posted on the VCE website where the manuals will be at, and you'll be able to sign up for those. Right now, if you want to take one of these courses, you'd contact Rachel Parson, and she would sign you up or help to get you signed up to take what we currently have right now, which basically consists of, for most of the classes, a quiz, basically that goes over the different units of the manuals. So if we go back again to the home site, if you have any questions, go back, that come up and you're not able to find them, of course, we have a help email here and a phone number that you can contact us at. But I think we've tried to make all of your questions, or put all the questions available for you on the website. For instance, if you're an applicator, private or commercial, you just hit the applicator tab here. You'll be directed to a wealth of information. A lot of this links to the VDAC's Office of Pesticide Services website as well. So if you need information about becoming a private applicator, information about commercial applicator, registered technicians, that information is here. If you need information about the various commercial applicator categories, we have that information here as well as a little description of what that category entails. Training opportunities, if you're looking for recertification credit, again, that information is here. We have that for private applicator recertification, private applicator recertification trainings, as well as commercial applicator. So you can go online, look at the calendar, see if there's anything available in your area. Information about various pesticide laws and regulations, as well as forms. A lot of these forms, again, are linked to the VDAC's website, so you'll find them there as well. But if you're looking for applications for, to become certified, we have that there. Applications, if you're interested in becoming a business, we have that there as well. Sample record keeping forms. And then, of course, frequently asked questions. So we have a number of questions that come up throughout the year, and we've tried to make most of those available on our site. So in addition to this information, another kind of helpful site for growers in Virginia would be our resources and publications. Here we link to a lot of the content from Virginia Cooperative Extension, for instance, the pest management guides. If you're a commercial applicator or commercial grower, we also have the home grounds and animals for general public as well. Our pesticide safety education publications, a number of publications there. If you need fact sheets, Virginia Cooperative Extension fact sheets on insects, diseases, weeds. Again, we kind of try to make this website a one-stop shop where you can easily find all of this information. And so if you have any questions, again, you can feel free to contact us. Again, our information is right here on the homepage. And again, the website is vtpp.org, or that will redirect you to vtpp.ento.vt.edu. That's the new web address, but our old web address, which was vtpp.org, will redirect you to that, so you don't have to memorize a new email address. So with that, I'll turn it over to Rachel.
Thanks, Daniel. I'm the one who is basically handles the private applicator recertification courses in the state. And so as agents prepare their courses, they send them to me to be approved by me. And then we see if I can pull my screen up. I'm trying to pull my screen up at the same time I'm talking, but so when I approve them, I put them on a public calendar that's available for anybody to see. And then there's a time where we are very busy doing that, approving classes and everything. And then once the classes start, the agents send the paperwork that growers fill out and all the attendees fill out. They send that back to us and we process that paperwork, put it into the database, and that's how you get your recertification credits. That paperwork is then kept for several years so that we have records. And so this brings up the problem of most of our private applicator classes are held in person, and because of COVID and the things that are going on, it's really threw a wrench into the plan. So so we'll be having to deal with trying to come up with new ways to get private applicators certified this fall and winter. And I believe that, we're going to come up with some good alternatives for those who can't meet in person. We are hoping that we'll keep going in a good direction, and that people will be able to meet in person with using masks and social distancing things. But we're also, we do have other plans in place that we'll be able to offer online courses, and those who can attend online courses will have a bit of a different procedure that they'll have to go through. And the agents are working hard on coming up with those procedures. We're working together to get those ready. But we hope we generally recertify over 2,000 folks every year, and we plan on doing that this year. And as Liza said, we hold our season runs basically from about October, November is the beginning, and then we run all the way through February. So we really hope that things work out to where, we can hold those in-person classes, but we are getting ready to do that in other ways. So if you're looking for something for your area, we have the calendars divided up into regions. I just pulled up the Southwest region that shows the January calendar of this past year when we were holding recerts. So, so contacting your agent, or looking on this calendar is really the best way to see, how, what your area recert classes are. And we'll make sure to distinguish between those that are in person and those that are online. So we have a few out online right now. Those are really not set up for full recertification credits, so they were an option that we were using when we only had 1 or 2 people. with possibly hundreds of people doing this, we're going to have to rethink those options. So Robbie, that's about all I have.
All right, thanks, Rachel. We appreciate you and Dan joining us this morning and sharing those comments. So I guess at this point, we'll go ahead and I see we've got a couple of questions in the chat box, and one of those have been addressed. So I'll just read some of that for folks that maybe can't see it in the chat box. One of the question was, Lisa, you mentioned that commercial applicator license are required for paraquat application, but is specific paraquat training and certification still required? And the response to that was yes, all applicators must be certified and all applicators must take the paraquat training. So for those of you that may have also had that question, that's the response on that. And then we've got another question here. Says, what is the process of getting our alternative procedures approved for private applicator research trainings approved? Do we just submit to Rachel and work it out? Rachel, could you address that question?
Yes, I think we're going to be holding a workshop in late August, and by then we'll have a lot of these procedures kind of worked out, and I will make a presentation about that. But in the meantime, I know that there are some agents who are trying to get started and already, and so I've been working with them individually. So please, any of the agents out there, yeah, contact me, and we will help you get started. But really, we haven't gotten all the kinks worked out just yet.
Yeah, and I'll also add, Rachel, for the agents on the line with us this morning, we are going to be having a second portion to this, kind of an in-service training for internal agents within Virginia Cooperative Extension at the conclusion of the public meeting this morning. So for those of you that are interested in that information and those trainings and how to do what we may be looking at for that, if you could stick around and join us, we'll address some of that further after this. So I see that we've got Shelley Underwood, who's intern for Hanover County this year. She's been generous and posted all the resources from today's presentation. So you see a lot of those links there in the chat box for any type of questions or resources that may have been addressed by our speakers. I see we've got another comment here. Any ideas for research for the farmer who doesn't feel comfortable attending in person, or if in person is not allowed come fall and doesn't have a computer? And Matt, I think that's probably something that we may address a little bit further in the presentation after this public one on VC Ag today. But if you have questions and can't join us for that, we're going to be sure to record that as well and get that out internally to our ENR listserv. All right, any other questions or comments for both Rachel and Daniel or Liza this morning? All right, I'm gonna go ahead and unmute everybody real quick, just so if they may be joining us via landline or cell phone and don't have an option to unmute, to put it in the chat box. I'm just gonna unmute everyone real quick to allow you to ask those questions. I do ask if you're somewhere with a lot of background noise, if you would please remute yourself to avoid that confusion. That'd be greatly appreciated. All right, any other comments? I see we've got one or two additional questions in the chat box there, but you should have the ability to unmute yourselves now if you want to speak up and ask a question or comment. But I see we've got a question here for Liza. A pesticide collection program is available for homeowners too. Is that correct, Liza?
Thank you. Yes, homeowners can participate in the pesticide collection program. Absolutely. We will take it from, anybody who shows up. Oftentimes homeowners have access to a clean sweep program or a household hazardous waste program where they can also take their pesticides. But yes, we will accept pesticides from homeowners.
All right, thanks. Any last questions or comments? I see one more comment there from Ed. Rachel, that this is probably more for you and Dan. It asks, can the website that has the pesticide manuals on it have the publication date listed so it is easy for people to see if they have the most current edition?
So that publication date is available. If you go to order the training manuals, it'll have a little description of the manual. It'll also have the date of publication on there as well.
All right, thank you, Daniel. All right, last call for any questions or comments before we finish up this morning. All right, well, once again, we really appreciate our guest speakers this morning, Liza, Daniel, and Rachel. We really thank you for joining us. Thank you for your time and the great resources and information you've shared with us this morning. If you are joining us this morning, if you could please take just a few moments to fill out our brief evaluation. Stephanie has been generous and posted that in the chat box. So if you could please fill that evaluation out, it should just take a minute or two of your time to let us know how we can improve our programs or answer future questions or topics that you may have. Go ahead. Okay. Lastly, we will be having our next VC Ag Today next week, Thursday at 9 a.m. You see it there at the link as well as the dial-in telephone number. I would just like to take a few moments and thank the production team for VC Ag Today. It wouldn't be possible without both the generosity of our guest speakers today, as well as a team of agents and summer interns that we've got helping with this. Stephanie Romochek, Laura Maxey-Nay, and her summer intern, Shelly Underwood, Trent Jones, and Mike Broadus, and also Skylar Swan, who is a summer intern for Stephanie over in Westmoreland County. So just thank you to you all for all your help in putting these efforts together and making this possible. Again, we appreciate everybody joining us this morning. The recording will be posted to the link there on your screen, bit.ly/VC Ag Today videos, as well as audio only versions. You can find those on the Westmoreland Virginia Cooperative Extension webpage. Laura's done a lot, Stephanie's done a lot of work in putting those together, her and Scholar. So if you're just interested in audio only, you can find that there as well. So with that being said, we appreciate everyone joining us this morning. Thank you again to the guest speakers. We really appreciate you joining us. And if you have questions, please feel free to reach out to any of the agents this morning or the guest speakers. We'll be glad to assist you. So thanks again, and hope everyone has a great rest of their day and great rest of the week. Thank you so much.